Okay, let's get into it. Good afternoon, radio fans. Big Al here on this Thursday, August 6th, 2026, and welcome back to another edition of the AM and FM radio stations from across the country. And today we're debuting another new market as we'll be looking at the Raleigh-Durham-Chapel Hill radio market. This area of North Carolina is known as the Research Triangle. 90 girls in the house, right on cue. What's up? We'll also be looking at radio stations in smaller nearby markets such as Fayetteville, which is south of Raleigh, and Rocky Mount, which is east of Raleigh. So we'll also be looking at those stations during this rundown. Oh yeah, Star did tell you about me. Glad to see you here, 90 girl. Alright, let's strap in and jump into the new market on our installment of AM and FM radio stations across the country, as we'll be looking at Raleigh-Durham as well as Fayetteville and Rocky Mount. And we are going to start with a Catholic radio simulcast on 540 and 1240. On 540 is WETC, Wendell, Zebulon, North Carolina. And on 1240 is WPJL, Knightdale, North Carolina. Both stations are branded as Catholic 540 AM and 1240 AM. Divine Mercy Radio, featuring a Catholic talk and teaching format. Both stations are affiliated with EWTN Radio and Ave Maria Radio. WETC first signed on the air on June 21st, 1960. That was when their first license was granted by the Federal Communications Commission. WPJL signed on March 20th, of 1939, originally as WRAL. They would become WRNC in 1965, and the current WPJL in 1978. WETC has a Class B license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at 10,000 watts during daytime hours and 4,400 watts during nighttime hours. Meanwhile, WPJL has a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 1,000 watts unlimited. Studios for both stations are located at 343 East Six Forks Road in Raleigh. The WETC transmitter is located at the end of Oak Legacy Lane in Rollsville, North Carolina, while the WPJL transmitter is located at 515 Bart Street in Raleigh. Hi Stardust, how's it going? Both stations are owned by Divine Mercy Radio Incorporated, and their website is Catholic540am.org. Up next on 570 is WQDR Raleigh, known as the Triangle's Rock FM. This station plays classic rock and signed on the air originally as WMSN on October 25th, 1954, and they underwent an identity crisis, undergoing 10 call sign changes with 9 sets of call letters. This is their third run as WQDR. Their first run came between 2010 and 2012, and their second run was from 2017 to 2019. And they have since returned to the WQDR call letters in 2021. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 1,000 watts during the day and 40 watts at night. Studios are located at 3012 Highwoods Boulevard, Unit 201 in Raleigh. Their transmitter is located near the intersection of Northeast Maynard Road and East Chatham Street in suburban Cary, North Carolina. WQDR is owned locally by Curtis Media Group and licensed by Triangle Broadcast Associates, LLC. Programming repeats on WQDR FM 94.7 HD3 in Raleigh and relayed on translator station W252EL 98.3 FM, Cary, North Carolina. Their website is rock929triangle.com. Next up on 620 is WDNC Durham, otherwise known as The Buzz. This is a sports formatted station affiliated with ESPN Radio. They are the flagship station of the Duke Blue Devils, so you'll hear Duke football and men's basketball on The Buzz, and they are also one of two Raleigh area affiliates of the Carolina Panthers. WDNC is one of the Research Triangle's oldest radio stations, signing on the air in 1928 as WRBT on 1370 AM in Wilmington, North Carolina. The station would then become WRAM in 1931 and WDNC in 1934. The station moved to 1500 AM in Durham in 1934 and then to 1490 in 1941 before landing on 620 in 1948. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 1500 watts during the day and 41 watts at night. Quez is in the house. What's poppin'? Alright, the studios are located at the headquarters of Capital Broadcasting Company at 2619 Western Boulevard in Raleigh, which is also where NBC television station and company flagship WRAL-TV is located. The station's transmitter is off a Hartside Street in Durham. WDNC, as mentioned, is owned locally by Capital Broadcasting Company. License is held by WDNC AM LLC. Programming repeats on WCMC FM 99.9 HD2 in Holly Springs and is relayed on translator station W283DE 104.5 FM Durham. Their website is www.wral.com/sports. Next up on 640 is WFNC Fayetteville, known as WFNC AM 640. This is a news talk station affiliated with Fox News Radio, Premier Networks, Salem Radio Network, and Westwood One. WFNC signed on the air in 1940. Blue Jay 1983 is there. What's up? They have a Class B license with the FCC, broadcasting at 10,000 watts during the day and 1,000 watts at night. Studios and transmitter are located at 1009 Drayton Road in Fayetteville. WFNC is owned by Cumulus Media and licensed by Cumulus Licensing LLC. You can find them on the web at WFNC640am.com. Moving on to 680, you have WPTF Raleigh, branded as FM 92.9 and AM 680 WPTF. This is also a news talk station. They are affiliated with Town Hall News, Fox News Radio, the North Carolina News Network, which is based locally in Raleigh, and Westwood One. And this is the flagship station for the North Carolina Tar Heels. So you'll be hearing UNC football and men's basketball on WPTF. And this is the second radio station and the longest surviving radio station in the Raleigh-Durham area, signing on the air on October 25th, 1924, originally as WFBQ. They would become WRCO in 1925 and the present WPTF in 1927. The station began at 11:90 a.m. in 1924 and then later moved to 1380 and 720 both in 1927. They also moved to 550 in 1927 before landing on 6:80 a.m. in 1928. Bryce is in the house. What's up? Yes, football is back. You got the Panthers and the Cardinals playing in the Hall of Fame game later tonight. WPTF has a Class B license with the FCC, broadcasting at 50,000 watts full time. Studios are located at 3012 Highwoods Boulevard, Unit 201 in Raleigh. This is near Interstate 440. Meanwhile, the transmitter is located in Cary, North Carolina, off of East Chatham Street and Northeast Maynard Road. WPTF is locally owned by Curtis Media Group and licensed by First State Communications. WPTF's programming is relayed on 4 translator stations across the Triangle, including W225DF 92.9 FM Raleigh, which is the source of the station's brand. Also W251CA 98.1 FM Rollsville, North Carolina. W253CY 98.5 FM Cary, North Carolina. And W298DB 107.5 FM in Smithfield, North Carolina. Again, this is the second radio station to sign on in Raleigh-Durham and is the area's longest surviving station. Next up on 750 is WAUG, New Hope, North Carolina. Branded as Hot 97.9, featuring a mainstream urban or hip-hop format. WAUG signed on the air on July 20th, 1987. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 500 watts during daytime hours. Studios are located at 1005 Bullard Court, Suite 101 in Raleigh. Their transmitter is off of North State Street, which is south of Glasscock Street, also in Raleigh. WAUG is owned by St. Augustine's University, which is also based in Raleigh, but the website lists PMC Broadcasting as its owner. WAUG is a daytime-only station and must sign off the air at local sunset on 750. However, programming is relayed 24 hours a day on translator station W250AZ 97.9 FM Raleigh. Their website is hot979.com. Oh, and as for WPTF, their website is WPTF.com. I wanted to get that in. Next door to WAUG is 760, WCPS Tarboro. Known as WCPS 760 AM and 96.3 FM. Featuring urban gospel, urban oldies, and blues music. WCPS signed on the air in January of 1947. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 1,000 watts during daytime hours. Studio location is unlisted, possibly located in Tarboro. Their mailing address is P.O. Box 1443, Tarboro, North Carolina 27886. The transmitter is located off of North Main Street, also in Tarboro. WCPS is owned by Reverend Thomas L. Walker and licensed to Trey and Associates LLC. Programming is relayed 24 hours a day on translator station W242DG at 96.3 FM in Tarboro. WCPS is a daytime-only station, and by FCC law, they must sign off the air at local sunset on 760. But they have the FM transmitter their FM translator that allows WCPS's programming to broadcast 24 hours a day, even after the AM station goes off the air at sunset. Their website is www.wcpsradio.com. Moving on to 780, we have WCKB, Dunn, North Carolina. Branded as Gospel 780, featuring a Southern Gospel format. WCKB signed on the air in 1946. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 7,000 watts during the day and 1 watt at night. The studios and transmitter for WCKB are located at 17336 US 421 South in Dunn, North Carolina. The station is owned by North Carolina Central Broadcasters Incorporated, and programming is relayed on translator station W274CA, 102.7 FM, Dunn, North Carolina. Their website is www.wckb780.com. Moving on to 850, you have WKIX Raleigh, known as Oldies 850. Featuring an oldies format. This station signed on the air on March 21st, 1948 as WNAO. This would be the forerunner of WNAO TV Channel 28, Raleigh-Durham's first television station, which lasted from 1953 to 1957. WKIX underwent 5 call sign changes with 4 sets of call letters and had identified as WKIX on 2 separate occasions. The first run was from 1955 to 1994, and the second run was from 2010 to 2012. The station would return to the WKIX call letters in 2021. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 9,000 watts during the day and 120 watts at night. Their studios are located at 3012 Highwoods Boulevard, Unit 201 in Raleigh, which is off of Interstate 440. The transmitter is in Cary, North Carolina, near the intersection of Chapel Hill Road and Northeast Maynard Road. WKIX is owned by locally based Curtis Media Group and licensed by AM 850 LLC. Programming is relayed on translator station W228CZ 93.5 FM, Cary, North Carolina, and their website is oldies850.com. Alright. Next up, we have 3 stations that's a part of a regional Mexican broadcast network. You have WRTG Garner on 1000 AM, which serves the Raleigh area. You have WLLN Lillington, North Carolina on 1370, serving Fayetteville. And WLLQ Chapel Hill, which serves the Durham area. All 3 stations are branded as La Grande, featuring a regional Mexican format. I have Spanish variety written down, but all 3 stations play regional Mexican music. WRTG signed on the air in 1969 as WKBQ. They would become WHEV in 1987 and the present WRTG in 1994. Meanwhile, WLLN signed on the air on February 12, 1979, and WLLQ signed on in 1973, originally as WRBX, and would become WRTP in 1986, and the present WLLQ in 2005. All three stations have Class D licenses with the Federal Communications Commission. WRTG 1000 AM Garner broadcasts at 1000 watts during the day. WLLN 1370 AM Lillington operates at 5000 watts during the day and 49 watts at night. And WLLQ 1530 AM in Chapel Hill broadcasts at 10,000 watts during the day. Studio location was unlisted. They're possibly located in either Raleigh or Durham. The WRTG transmitter is in Garner, at the end of East Tryon Street near Celeste Drive. The WLLN transmitter is in Lillington, off of East McNeil Street near Poorhouse Creek. And the WLLQ transmitter is off of Mount Moriah Road in Durham. All three stations are owned by Eduardo Valdemaz Rodriguez and Leonor Rodriguez. Translator station W224DO 92.7 FM Lillington relays programming on WLLN. Programming is also heard across North Carolina on WREV 1220 AM in Reidsville, North Carolina. That is a Class D license, broadcasting at 1000 watts during daytime hours. They also relay their programming on translator station W228DS 93.5 FM in Reidsville. Programming is also heard on WSRP 910 AM, Jacksonville, North Carolina, which is a Class B license broadcasting 24 hours a day at 5,000 watts. And they also operate a translator station, which is W240DX 95.9 FM in Jacksonville. WRTG, WREV, and WLLQ are all daytime only stations, and all three must sign off the air at local sunset on their respective frequencies of 1000, 1220, and 1530. And one more note, WLLQ is currently off the air according to Radio Locator. Moving on to 1030, you have WDRU, Creedmoor, North Carolina, known as AM 1030 The Truth. This is a Christian radio format. The station signed on the air on September 1st, 1989, initially licensed as WBZN, but signed on officially as WFTK. They would become WDRU in 2005. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 50,000 watts during daytime hours. Programming originates from the Truth Broadcasting Network at 4405 Providence Lane, Suite D in Winston-Salem. Their transmitter is located at the end of Gray Woods Road in Stem, North Carolina, which is located at 3067 Old NC 75. WDRU is owned by the Truth Broadcasting Corporation, and programming repeats on Urban One owned WNNL 103.9 HD2 in Fuquay-Varina and is relayed on translator stations W288BU 105.5 FM Durham, W289BD 105.7 FM Raleigh, and W293DV 106.5 FM Wake Forest. WDRU is a daytime only station and must sign off the air at local sunset on 10:30 a.m. Their website is www.truthnetwork.com/station/WDRU. Alright, moving over to 1090, we have WTSB Selma. WTSB 105.5 FM and 1090 AM. This is a full-service Southern Gospel station affiliated with the North Carolina News Network. WTSB signed on the air on August 4th, 1964 as WBZB and officially became WTSB in 2004. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 9,000 watts during the day and 1,700 watts during critical hours, which is classified as 2 hours after local sunrise and 2 hours before local sunset. Studios are located at 216 Preedon Road in Smithfield, with transmitter located off of Powhatan Road, sorry about that, and that's located in Clayton, North Carolina. WTSB is also owned by Truth Broadcasting Corporation, and programming is relayed 24 hours a day on translator station W288DH 105.5 FM Selma. WTSB is also a daytime only station, and they go off the air at sunset on 1090. Their website is truthnetwork.com/stations/WTSB. Moving on to 1130, you have WPYB Benson, known as WPYB Country, featuring a classic country format, affiliated with SRN News. WPYB signed on the air in 1962. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 6,500 watts during daytime hours and 1,000 watts during critical hours. Studios are located at 2234 Hodges Chapel Road in Benson, which is also the location of the station's transmitter. Their mailing address is P.O. Box 215, Benson, North Carolina 27504. WPYB is owned by Harry McLam Jr. and Henry McLam Sr. and licensed by McLam Broadcasting. Their website is WPYBcountry.com, and this is also a daytime only station required by FCC law to sign off the air at local sunset on AM 1130. Jumping over to 1230, you have WFAY Fayetteville, known as WFAY 100.1 FM, featuring a country music format. This station signed on the air as WFAI in 1947 and became WFAY in 2008. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 1,000 watts. Studio location is unlisted. The station's transmitter is in Fayetteville, off of North Street. WFAY is owned by Jeffrey M. Andrelonis and licensed by Colonial Media and Entertainment LLC. Programming is relayed on translator station W261CX 100.1 FM Fayetteville. Their website is www.andrelonis.com/WFAY, and this is the flagship station of the Carolina Country Network. Alright, we talked about WPJL 1240 in Knightdale, which simulcasts Catholic programming on WETC, so we'll move ahead to 1270, which is WMPM Smithfield, known as El Gallo, featuring a regional Mexican format. Of course, El Gallo is Spanish for the chicken. Vaughn's in the house, what's up? WMPM signed on the air in 1950. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,000 watts during the day and 145 watts at night. Their studios and transmitter are both located at 1270 Buffalo Road in Smithfield. WMPM is owned by Stephen Lara, and the license is held by Gorilla Broadcasting Company, LLC. Programming is relayed on translator station W232DO at 94.3 FM in Smithfield. Their website is elgallonc.com. Alright. Next up on 1310 is WTIK Durham. La que buena. 30 días IMA. Featuring a regional Mexican format, signing on the air on July 4th, 1946 as WDUK. It would become WTIK just a short time later in 1950. They have a Class B license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,000 watts during the day and 1,000 watts at night. Their studios and transmitter are located at 707 Leon Street in Durham. WTIK is owned by Claudino Bonerges, Ashley Padilla Ayala, Brian Padilla, and Alexis Padilla. Their license is held by A&B Media, LLC, and their website is quebuenanc.com. Next on 1360 is WCHL Chapel Hill, known as 97.9 The Hill WCHL, featuring news, talk, sports, and adult album alternative music. They are affiliated with Westwood One and ABC News Radio, and this is the flagship station for North Carolina Tar Heels baseball and women's basketball. WCHL signed on the air on January 25th, 1953. They have a Class B license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,000 watts during the day and 1,000 watts at night. Their studios are located at 1525 East Franklin Street, Suite 4 in Chapel Hill. Their transmitter is not too far from the station, located in the 1800 block of East Franklin Street, also in Chapel Hill. WCHL is owned by Chapel Hill Media Group, LLC. Programming is relayed on translator station W250BP, 97.9 FM, Chapel Hill. Their website is chapelboro.com. Alright, 1370, which is WLLN Lillington, is part of La Grande, which simulcasts programming on WRTG and WLLQ. So we'll move ahead to 1390, which is WEED Rocky Mount. Yes, that does spell weed, by the way. They're known as Joy 1390, featuring a gospel music format, and this is a long-running station on the air since 1933. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,000 watts during the day and 30 watts at night. Studio location is unlisted. Possibly their studios are in Rocky Mount. Their transmitter is located off of US Business 64, which is also known as Sunset Avenue in Rocky Mount. WEED is owned by North Star Broadcasting Corporation. They have no website. Programming is relayed on translator station W289BL 105.7 FM Rocky Mount. 1410 is WRJD Durham, known as La Verdad Durham Raleigh, featuring a Spanish Christian format. Signing on the air on October 15, 1954 as WSRC. And they would become WRJD in 2006. They have a Class B license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,000 watts during the day, 290 watts at night. Programming originates from 4405 Providence Lane, Suite D, in Winston-Salem. The transmitter is off of Cold Cough Avenue and I-85 in Durham. WRJD is owned by Stuart Epperson and licensed by Truth Broadcasting Corporation. There's no website for this station. According to Wikipedia, WRJD is currently silent. Next up on 1450 is WMRV Spring Lake, known as 106.5 The River, featuring a classic rock format. This station signed on the air as WFBS on May 22, 1963. They underwent 4 call sign changes with 4 sets of call letters and became WMRV in 2017. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 950 watts. Studio location is unlisted. Their transmitter is off of Wheeless Road and Lillington Highway in Linden, North Carolina. WMRV is owned by Jeffrey Andrulonis and licensed by Colonial Media and Entertainment, LLC. Programming is relayed on translator station W293DD at 106.5 FM in Fayetteville. Their website is andrewlonis.com/WMRV. 1490 has 3 stations, one serving each of our core cities. The first station is assigned to Fayetteville, and that's WAZZ Fayetteville. My Kiss Radio 93.5, featuring a top 40 CHR format, affiliated with Westwood One. This station signed on the air on February 18, 1948 as WFLB. They would become WAZZ in 1997. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 1,000 watts unlimited. Their studios are located at 1876 Bureau Drive in Fayetteville. Their transmitter is in the 1300 block of Bragg Boulevard, near NC 24 and NC 87, also in Fayetteville. WAZZ is owned by Beasley Media Group, LLC, and licensed by Beasley Media Group Licenses, LLC. Programming is relayed on translator station W228DK, 93.5 FM Fayetteville, and their website is mykissradio.com. The second station on 1490 is WDUR Durham, AM 1490 WDUR, featuring Indian programming plus South Asian programming and Bollywood hits. WDUR signed on the air as WSSB on February 29, 1948, and would become WDUR in either the 80s or 90s. They didn't specify which year. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 1,000 watts unlimited. Their studios and transmitter are located at 1824 Nixon Street in Durham. WDUR is owned by Ravi Cherukuri and licensed by Arohi Media, LLC. Programming is relayed on translators or programming repeats on WCMC 99.9 FM HD4 Holly Springs, and relayed on translator station W270DT 101.9 FM Durham. Their website is radionaira.com. The The last station on 1490 is WRMT Rocky Mount. No brand for this station. They play beach music. This station signed on the air on December 15th, 1958. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 1,000 watts. Their studios are located at 12714 NC 97 East. Their transmitter is located off of South Wesleyan Boulevard, which is the US 301 bypass, both located in Rocky Mount. WRMT is owned by First Media Radio LLC, and programming is relayed on translator station W251CX, 98.1 FM, Rocky Mount, and there is no website for this station. 1530, which is WLLQ Chapel Hill, also simulcasts La Grande from WRTG and WLLN. So we're going to jump right into 1590, which is WHPY Clayton, and there's no brand for this station either. They have a Christian radio format affiliated with both the Fundamental Broadcasting Network and the Salem Radio Network. WHPY signed on the air in 1974. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,000 watts during the day and 25 watts at night. Their studios are located at the Fellowship Bible Church at 911 West Main Street in Clayton. Their mailing address is P.O. Box 535, Clayton, North Carolina, 27528. The transmitter is off of Winston Road. Yes, Winston Road in Clayton. WHPY is owned by the Fellowship Christian Academy and licensed by Fellowship Baptist Church Incorporated. Their website is WHPYradio.com. The last station on AM is 1600, WIDU Fayetteville, known as WIDU 1600 and 99.7, featuring a gospel music format, signing on the air in December of 1958. They have a Class D license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,000 watts during the day and 147 watts at night. Alright, Vaughn, thanks for dropping in, bro. Studios are located at 2520 Burchison Road in Fayetteville. The transmitter is located behind Ave Anna Apartments at 421 Plantation Road in Fayetteville. The station is owned by WIDU Broadcasting Incorporated. Programming is relayed on translator station W259CY, 99.7 FM Fayetteville, and their website is www.widu1600.com. Alright, now we're moving on to the FM side of the dial, and we'll begin with the traditional non-commercial band. 88.1 Channel 201 has two stations. The first is WKNC FM Raleigh, broadcasting in high definition. That is 88.1 WKNC on 88.1 FM analog and 88.1 HD1 and HD2 is a mix of indie rock, electronic music, hip-hop, heavy metal, and jazz. Meanwhile, the HD3 subchannel plays dance music. WKNC signed on the air on October 9th, 1966 on 88.1 FM. But the station does date back as far as 1922 as WLAC, as well as WOLF and WNCS between 1944 and 1947. and then WVWP from 1947 until they became WKNC in 1958, with the FM suffix added in 1966. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 25,000 watts. Their studios are located at 343 Witherspoon Street in Raleigh. Their transmitter is located on the North Campus of North Carolina State University at 2 West Broughton Drive, also in Raleigh. And this station is owned by North Carolina State University, which is located in Raleigh. Their website is www.wknc.org. The second station on 88.1 is WWFJ East Fayetteville, which is also part of the Fundamental Broadcasting Network, featuring a Christian format. First sign-on is listed as September 15, 2017, which is the date their current license was granted by the Federal Communications Commission. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 2,000 watts. Their studios are at 520 Roberts Road in Newport, North Carolina. The transmitter is located off of Cedar Creek Road in Wade, North Carolina. WWFJ is owned by Grace Bible Church, and their website is fbnradio.com. Right next door on 88.3 Channel 202 is WUAW Irwin, North Carolina, known as The Beat, featuring a top 40 CHR format, signing on the air on May 11, 1990. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 3,000 watts. The studio address was taken from the FCC database via radio locator and may be outdated. It's listed at 215 Maynard Lake Road in Irwin, North Carolina, which is where the transmitter is located, right behind Triton High School. WUAW is owned by Central Carolina Community College. Their website is WUAWFM.com. Next on 88.5 Channel 203 is WRTP Franklinton, branded as His Radio, featuring a Christian adult contemporary format. WRTP officially signed on the air in 1994 as WZRU. This call sign dates to their construction permit issued in 1992. They would become WRTP in 2005. They have a Class C2 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at 24,000 watts. Their studios are located at 7610 Falls of News Road in Raleigh. The transmitter is located near Sheriff Davis Road and Pete Harris Road in Centerville. WRTP is owned by the Radio Training Network and licensed by Radio Training Network Incorporated. Programming repeats on WRDU 100.7 FM HD2 Wake Forest. Meanwhile, translator stations W216BN 91.1 FM Raleigh, W222AO 92.3 FM South Goldsboro, W255 AM 98.9 FM Raleigh, W256 AH 99.1 FM Durham, and W274 AK 102.7 FM Wilson, North Carolina, all relay the programming heard on WRTP. Meanwhile, translator stations W243DA 96.5 FM Greenville, W254BV 98.7 FM Clayton, and W299AP 107.7 FM Apex, North Carolina, and W300CE 107.9 FM Chapel Hill. Relays WRTP's programming via WRDU HD2. Their website is hisradiowrtp.com. And there is another station out of Fayetteville that broadcasts their programming. More on that station in just a bit. For now, let's move on to 88.7 Channel 204, which is WXDU Durham. WXDU 88.7 FM featuring a variety format. Signing on the air in October of 1983. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 2150 watts. Studios are located on the campus of Duke University at 2022 Campus Drive in Durham. The transmitter is near 3314 NC 86 in Hillsboro. WXDU is the student-run radio station of Duke University, and their website is www.wxdu.org. Right next to them at 88.9 Channel 205, broadcasting in high definition, is WRKV Raleigh. Part of the K-Love radio network. On 88.9 FM analog and 88.9 HD1 is contemporary Christian music. On 88.9 HD2 is Air 1, which plays contemporary worship music. And on 88.9 HD3 is K-Love Eras, which is classic contemporary Christian music. WRKV signed on the air as WSHA in 1968 and would become WRKV in 2018. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 50,000 watts. Programming originates from the K-Love headquarters at 2000 Reams Fleming Boulevard in the Nashville suburb of Franklin, Tennessee. Their transmitter is located off of Southgate Drive, near the interchange of Interstates 40 and 440 in Raleigh. WRKV is owned by EMF, the Educational Media Foundation, and their website is, of course, klove.com. .3 Channel 207 has two stations. The first is WXYC Chapel Hill, known as WXYC 89.3, with a college radio format. WXYC signed on the air in 1977. They have an FCC license, or rather they have a Class A license with the FCC, sorry about that, broadcasting at 1100 watts. Studios are located at 209 South Road, number 5210, located on the UNC campus in Chapel Hill. The transmitter is also in Chapel Hill, located off of Jones Ferry Road. WXYC is owned by Student Educational Broadcasting Incorporated, although the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill technically owns the station. Their website is www.wxyc.org. The other station on 89.3 Channel 207 is WZRI Spring Lake. This station broadcasts Air 1 programming to the Fayetteville area, featuring Christian worship music. First sign-on of the station is unlisted. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 2,000 watts. Programming originates from the K-Love headquarters at 2000 Reams Fleming Boulevard in Franklin, Tennessee. The station's transmitter is located in Linden on Spring Avenue near Pine Tree Lane. WZRI is also owned by the Educational Media Foundation, otherwise known as EMF, and their programming repeats on WKFV 107.3 HD2 Clinton and relayed on translator station W275BW 102.9 FM Fayetteville. Their website is air1.com. Up next, on 89.7 channel 209 is one of the Research Triangle's most popular stations, and that is WCPE Raleigh, also known as the Classical Station, featuring classical music 24 hours a day. WCPE signed on the air on July 17, 1978. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 96,700 watts, which goes up to the maximum 100,000 watts with a beam tilt. The studios and the transmitter for WCPE are both located at 1928 Chalk Road in Wake Forest. Their mailing address is P.O. Box 828, Wake Forest, North Carolina 27588. WCPE is owned by the Educational Information Corporation, and programming is also repeated on WZPE 90.1 FM, Bath, North Carolina, which is a Class A license broadcasting at 4,500 watts, and WURI 90.9 FM, Manteo, North Carolina, which is a Class A license at 5,200 watts. And there's some more here. Their programming is also relayed on 8 translator stations, 6 in North Carolina and 2 in Southside, Virginia, including W202BQ 88.3 FM, Aberdeen, North Carolina, which broadcasts at 10 watts. W205CA 88.9 FM, Foxfire, North Carolina, which operates at 27 watts. W210BS 89.9 FM, New Bern, North Carolina. That's a 120 watt translator. W219DW 91.7 FM, Buxton, North Carolina, which is also a 120 watt translator. There's also W237CM 95.3 FM, Fayetteville, which operates at 10 watts. W247BG 97.3 FM, Frog Level, North Carolina, operating at 10 watts. W275AW 102.9 FM, Danville, Virginia, which operates at 38 watts. And W292DF 106.3 FM, Bassett Forks, Virginia, which operates at 10 watts. Their website is theclassicalstation.org. Next up is 90.1 channel 211, which is WCCE, Boys Creek, North Carolina. This would be a full-time satellite station of WRTP 88.5, which is branded as His Radio WRTP. So this is the station that serves Fayetteville. They feature a Christian adult contemporary format, signing on the air on October 7, 1974. They have a Class C3 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at 15,000 watts. Studios are located at 7610 Falls of Neuse Road in Raleigh, while the transmitter is located off of Palestine Road near McArtonsford Road in Linden. WCCE is owned by the Radio Training Network. And again, this is the full-time Fayetteville satellite of WRTP 88.5 FM in Lincolnton. Their website is www.hisradiowrtp.com. Moving on to 90.5 Channel 213 is WVRD, Zebulon, North Carolina, known as The Journey, featuring a contemporary Christian format. The station signed on the air in 1990 as WAHD, originally in Wilson, North Carolina. The station became WXJC in 2000, WAJC in 2002, and the current WVRD in 2010. The WAHD call letters dates back as early as 1988. WVRD has a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 12,000 watts. Programming originates from the campus of Liberty University, 3700 Candlers Mountain Road, Suite F in Lynchburg, Virginia. The station's transmitter is at 210 East Vance Street in Zebulon, North Carolina. WVRD is owned by Liberty University and licensed by Liberty University Incorporated. Their website is myjourneyfm.com. Right next door on 90.7 Channel 214, broadcasting in high definition, is WNCU Durham. 90.7 Jazz, WNCU. On 90.7 FM analog and 90.7 HD1 is Jazz and Public Radio, affiliated with NPR, the Pacifica Radio Network, and Public Radio Exchange. WNCU signed on the air in August of 1995. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 50,000 watts. Studios are located at 501 East Lawson Street, inside the Farrison Newton Communications Building on the campus of North Carolina Central University in Durham. The transmitter is at 3306 Rose of Sharon Road, also in Durham. WNCU is owned by North Carolina Central University, and their website is www.wncu.org. All right. Wrapping up the traditional non-commercial band are three of the many stations of the North Carolina Public Radio Network. 91.5 Channel 218 is Raleigh-Chapel Hill, which serves the Raleigh-Durham area. Then you have WFSS Fayetteville on 91.9 Channel 220 and WRQM Rocky Mount on 90.9 Channel 215. All three stations broadcast in high definition, and they are all a part of North Carolina Public Radio. On the FM analog signal and on HD1 on all three stations is public radio, featuring news, information, and specialty music. The BBC World Service is heard on WUNC HD2 and WFSS HD2. All stations are affiliated with NPR, Public Radio Exchange, American Public Media, and the BBC World Service. WUNC signed on the air on April 3, 1976. WFSS signed on in 1977 on 89.1 FM, and then they would move to 91.9 in 1993. Meanwhile, WRQM signed on in April of 1992 as WESQ and became WRQM in 1996. WUNC Chapel Hill on 91.5 Channel 218, that's the flagship of North Carolina Public Radio. They operate with a Class C license from the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. WFSS Fayetteville on 91.9 Channel 220 has a Class C1 license, also broadcasting at 100,000 watts. At WRQM Rocky Mount on 90.9 Channel 215 has a Class C2 license, operating at 7,500 watts. All three stations broadcast from studios at 120 Friday Center Drive in Chapel Hill. The WUNC transmitter is located off of Jones Ferry Road, also in Chapel Hill. The WFSS transmitter is off of Edgecombe Avenue Extended, near W.T. Brown Drive in Fayetteville. And that's on the campus of Fayetteville State University. The WRQM transmitter is off of Temperance Hall Road in Rocky Mount. All three stations are owned by the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and all are licensed by WUNC Public Radio LLC. North Carolina Public Radio is also heard on 5 other stations across the state, including WUND-FM 88.9 FM Manteo, North Carolina, with a Class C0 license broadcasting at 50,000 watts. This station serves the northern sections of the Outer Banks region of eastern North Carolina. Programming is also heard on WZCO 89.9 FM Chadbourne, North Carolina. That's a Class C2 license at 25,000 watts. This station serves primarily southeastern North Carolina. Then there's WBUX 90.5 FM Buxton, which is a Class A station, broadcasting at 5,900 watts, and serves Cape Fear and the Outer Banks. There's also WUNL-FM 89.1 Laurinburg, North Carolina. That's a Class C3 station operating at 10,500 watts and serves southern North Carolina, northern South Carolina, and the far eastern suburbs of Charlotte. Of course, Charlotte does not have a North Carolina public radio station in that market. Their website, by the way, is www.wunc.org. Oh, and programming is also heard on WUNW-FM 91.1, Welcome, North Carolina, which has a Class A license operating at 180 watts, and serves the Piedmont Triad region, including Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point. And that's going to be a market we'll be looking at in the near future, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Again, their website is www.wunc.org. Alright, now we're on to the commercial band on FM, starting with 92.1 Channel 221. WRSV M City, known as Choice FM 92.1. Featuring a mainstream urban or hip-hop format. Affiliated with Premier Radio Networks, this is the local home of The Breakfast Club. WRSV signed on the air in 1974. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 2,300 watts. Studios are located at 3630 Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh, and their transmitter is off of Baines Loop Road in Spring Hope, North Carolina. WRSV is owned by North Star Broadcasting, and their website is ilovechoicefm.com. Next up is 92.5 Channel 223, which is WYFL Henderson. This is the Raleigh-Durham affiliate of the Bible Broadcasting Network, featuring a religious format. This station signed on the air on October 3rd, 1981. They have a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Crazy Cajuns in the building. What's poppin', bro? Programming originates from the headquarters of the Bible Broadcasting Network at 11115 Rushmore Drive in Charlotte. Their mailing address is P.O. Box 7300, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28241-7300. The transmitter is in Alert, North Carolina, off of Alert Road. WYFL is an owned and operated station of the Bible Broadcasting Network, and programming is relayed on translator stations W255BE 98.9 FM Fuquay Arena and W287AI 105.3 FM Goldsboro. Their website is bbn1.bbnradio.org. Jumping all the way up now to 93.9 Channel 230. Broadcasting in high definition is WNCB Cary, known as B93.9 New Country. On 93.9 FM analog and 93.9 HD1 is country music. On 93.9 HD2 is K-Love, which plays contemporary Christian music. WNCB has affiliations with Premier Networks. WNCB signed on the air on February 24th, 1947 as WFNS-FM. The station would undergo 5 call sign changes with 4 sets of call letters and then would become WNCB in 2014. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 3100 Smoke Tree Court in Raleigh. Their transmitter is off of Production Drive in Apex, North Carolina. B93.9 is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed by IHM Licenses, LLC. Translator stations W232CH 94.3 FM Raleigh and W270 AM 101.9 FM Sanford, North Carolina, relays K-Love on WNCB HD2. Their website is b939country.iheart.com. The next station would be B93.9's competition, and that's 94.7 Channel 234, broadcasting in high definition. That is WQDR-FM Raleigh, 94.7 QDR. On 94.7 FM analog and 94.7 HD1 is country music. On 94.7 HD2 is the Top 40 CHR simulcast of sister station WPLW-FM. We'll be talking about that station shortly. And on 94.7 HD3 is the classic rock simulcast of WQDR-AM. WQDR-FM is affiliated with Compass Media Networks. This station signed on the air as WPTF-FM at 94.5 FM in August of 1949. They would become WQDR officially in 1972, with the FM suffix added in 2010. Hey, it's CJ from Sour Apple Bowling. What's up, man? Hey, make sure y'all check out Sour Apple Bowling. He puts out some killer content. The station would then move to 94.7 in 1950. So they really didn't have that much time on 94.5 before moving over. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. Studios are located near Interstate 440 at 3012 Highwoods Boulevard, Unit 201 in Raleigh. The transmitter is located next to the WRAL-TV Channel 5 tower on TV Tower Road in Garner. WQDR-FM is locally owned by Curtis Media Group and licensed by Carolina Media Group, Incorporated. Translator stations W254AS 98.7 FM, Rolesville, North Carolina, operating at 250 watts. W279EJ 103.7 FM in Hillsboro, which also operates at 250 watts. W284CP 104.7 FM Raleigh, operating at 99 watts. And W284CD 104.7 FM Youngsville, North Carolina, operating at 250 watts. Those four translators relay WQDR HD2, which is the top 40 format. Meanwhile, translator stations W227CZ 93.3 FM Durham, operating at 200 watts. W228CV 93.5 FM Chapel Hill at 125 watts. And W262CZ 100.3 FM Raleigh at 250 watts, relays the classic rock heard on WQDR FM HD3 and WQDR AM. The website is www.947qdr.com. Alright, moving on to 95.5, channel 238, you have WPWZ, Pine Tops, North Carolina. Power 95.5, featuring an urban contemporary or hip-hop format, affiliated with Premier Networks and the United Stations radio networks. WPWZ signed on the air as WEQQ in 1997, call sign issued in 96. They became WKTC in 1998 and WPWZ in 2003. The station was assigned WWRT from 1990 to 1996, but officially was never used. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 25,000 watts. Studios are located at 12714 NC 97 East in Rocky Mount. The transmitter is off of Dunbar New Hope Church Road in Ranello, North Carolina. WPWZ is owned by First Media Radio LLC. Their website is www.powerhits95.com. Right next door at 95.7, channel 239, broadcasting in high definition, is WKML Lumberton. The big 95.7 WKML. On 95.7 FM analog and 95.7 HD1 is country music. On 95.7 HD2 is also country music known as New Tune Country. WKML signed on the air as WTSB-FM on December 1st, 1960. They would become WGSS in 1979 and the current WKML in 1985. They have a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 1876 Bureau Drive in Fayetteville. The transmitter is off of Mary C. Road in Rennert, North Carolina. The big 95.7 WKML is owned by Beasley Broadcast Group Incorporated and licensed by Beasley Media Group Licenses LLC. Their website is WKML.com. Moving on to 96.1 Channel 241, WBBB, Raleigh. 96.1 BBB, Your Life, Your Music. This is an adult hit station which signed on the air as WNAO-FM in 1948, making it one of Raleigh-Durham's oldest FM signals. They would undergo 4 call sign changes with 3 sets of call letters, including WKIX-FM, which they used twice. First from 1955 to 1972, and then the second run was from 1994 to 1998. That was the year they became WBBB. They have a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 3012 Highwoods Boulevard, Unit 201 in Raleigh. The transmitter is located off of Blaney Franks Road in Apex. WBBB is owned by Curtis Media Group, which is locally based in Raleigh, and their licensee is Carolina Media Group Incorporated. Their website is 961bbb.com. Next up is 96.5 Channel 243, broadcasting in high definition, WFLB Laurinburg. 96.5 Jack FM, playing what we want. On 96.5 FM analog and 96.5 HD1 is adult hits. On 96.5 HD2 is an adult hits format known as Chaos HD2. WFLB signed on the air in 1947 as WEWO-FM. They would become WSTS in 1968, WMXF-FM in 1990, WAZZ in 1993, and WFLB in 1997. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 1876 Bureau Drive in Fayetteville. Their transmitter is also located off of Mary C. Road in Renard. This is the same tower used by WKML. WFLB is owned by the Beasley Broadcast Group and licensed by Beasley Media Group Licenses, LLC. Their website is playjackradio.com. Alright, moving on up to 96.9 Channel 245. WPLW-FM Goldsboro. Pulse FM. This is a top 40 CHR station which signed on the air as WGBR-FM at 99.7 on October 26, 1946, and they would undergo an identity crisis as they would undergo 7 call sign changes with 6 sets of call letters. This includes WYMY and WYMY-FM, which they used from 2001 to 2013. They would become WWPL in 2014 and WPLW-FM in 2023. The station would move to 93.3 in 1950 and land on 96.9 in 1954. They have a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 3012 Highwoods Boulevard, Unit 201 in Raleigh. The transmitter is located off of Old Smithfield Road in Goldsboro. WPLW-FM is locally owned by the Curtis Media Group and licensed by New Age Communications Limited. Programming is repeated on WQDR-FM 94.7 HD2 in Raleigh, and their website is thenewpulsefm.com. Next up is 97.5 Channel 248, broadcasting in high definition, and that is WQOK Carborough, K97.5. On 97.5 FM analog and 97.5 HD1 is Urban Contemporary, aka Hip Hop. and there are no additional subchannels. Alright, WQOK signed on the air on October 1st, 1960 in South Boston, Virginia as WHLF-FM. They would become WJLC-FM in 1973 and WQOK in 1987. That's when this station moved into the Raleigh-Durham market. And this was after morning show host Tom Joyner purchased WQOK. The city of license was changed from South Boston, Virginia to the Durham suburb of Carrboro, North Carolina in 2007 and has had its current hip-hop format since moving into Raleigh-Durham. Iconics in the house, hi! They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 50,000 watts. Their studios are located at 8001 Creedmoor Street in Raleigh. The transmitter is in Durham, off of North Lake Drive. WQOK, or K97.5, is owned by Urban One and licensed by Radio One Licenses, LLC. Their website is hiphopnc.com. Alright, next up is 98.1 Channel 251. That is WQSM Fayetteville, known as Q98, featuring a top 40 CHR format, affiliated with both the United Stations radio networks and Westwood One. WQSM signed on the air as WFNC-FM in 1947 and became WQSM in 1969. They have a Class C1 license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. Their studios and transmitter are located at 1009 Drayton Road in Fayetteville. WQSM is owned by Cumulus Media and licensed by Cumulus Licensing, LLC. Their website is www.q98fm.com. Up next is 98.5 Channel 253. That is WDWG Rocky Mount. 98.5 Big Dog. That's DAWG. Today's hottest country. This is a country music format affiliated with the United Stations Radio Network. Alright, WDWG signed on the air in 1990 as WSAY-FM. This call sign was assigned to the station in 1989 and would become WDWG with its current country format in 2003. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 25,000 watts. Studios are located at 12714 NC97 East in Rocky Mount, which is also the location of the station's transmitter. Iconic's phone must be dying. Okay, she'll be back. WDWG, or 98.5 Big Dog, is owned by First Media Radio LLC, and their website is www.bigdog985.com. Alright, we are breezing right along, folks. Next up is 99.1 Channel 256, broadcasting in high definition, and that's WZFX, Whiteville. Foxy 99. On 99.1 FM analog and 99.1 HD1 is mainstream urban, otherwise known as hip-hop. On 99.1 HD2 is Sunny 94.3, which plays adult contemporary music. WZFX has affiliations with premier networks, namely The Breakfast Club. WZFX signed on the air in 1978 as WENC-FM. They would become WQTR in 1980 and WZFX in 1986. They have a Class C1 license with the FCC, broadcasting at the maximum 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 1876 Bureau Drive in Fayetteville. Their transmitter is located off of NC 87 in Tar Heel, North Carolina. WZFX is owned by the Beasley Broadcast Group and licensed by Beasley Media Group Licenses, LLC. Nice. Oh, you have to find a charger? That's cool. That's cool. Translator station W232CI 94.3 FM Fayetteville relays the adult contemporary format from WZFX HD2. And they have both their websites listed. The main website is foxy99.com. Their HD2 website is sunny943.com. Next door on 99.3 channel 257 is WZAX, Nashville, North Carolina, known as 99.3 The Beach, featuring beach music. They are affiliated with Premier Networks, and this is Rocky Mount's official station of the Carolina Panthers. WZAX signed on the air on February 1st, 1997, at 99.7 FM, before moving to 99.3 in 2005. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 6,000 watts. Studios are located at 12714 NC 97 East in Rocky Mount. The transmitter is located off of East Old Spring Road in Nashville, North Carolina. WZAX is owned by First Media Radio LLC. Their website is 993thebeach.com. Moving on to 99.9 channel 260, broadcasting in high definition, WCMC FM Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. On 99.9 FM analog and 99.9 HD1 is sports. 99.9 HD2 and HD3 is the simulcast of The Buzz heard on WDNC 620. And on 99.9 HD4 is the simulcast of WDUR featuring Indian and South Asian programming. WCMC FM is affiliated with ESPN Radio. They are the flagship station of the Carolina Hurricanes, the 2026 Stanley Cup champions, and they are Raleigh-Durham's affiliate for Charlotte FC. That's the MLS team over in Charlotte. WCMC FM signed on as WFXQ in 1993 and became WCMC FM in 2005. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 26,500 watts. Studios are located at 2619 Western Boulevard in Raleigh. Their transmitter is on TV Tower Road in Garner, right next to the Channel 5 transmitter. WCMC FM is locally owned by Capital Broadcasting Company, which also owns NBC station WRAL TV Channel 5, Fox station WRAZ Channel 50, and two other radio stations in the market. The license is held by WCMC FM LLC, and their website is www.wralsportsfan.com. Next up is 100.7 channel 264, also broadcasting in high definition. WRDU Wake Forest. 100.7 WRDU. Everything rock and alternative. On 100.7 FM analog and 100.7 HD1 is mainstream rock. On 100.7 HD2 is the simulcast of his radio from WRTP, which plays contemporary Christian music. WRDU signed on the air in 1947 as WCEC-FM. They would undergo 4 call sign changes with 4 sets of call letters and would become WRDU in 2013. This station was initially licensed to Rocky Mount, but later changed its city of license to Wake Forest and part of a multi-station agreement that would allow Capital Broadcasting's WCMC-FM to increase its coverage area. WRDU has a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 3100 Smoke Tree Court in Raleigh. The transmitter is off of Bryant Road in Bailey, North Carolina. WRDU is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed by IHM Licenses, LLC. Their website is wrdu.iheart.com. Next up is 101.1 Channel 266, WYMY Burlington. Raleigh, 101.1. This station plays a mix of regional Mexican and Spanish contemporary hits. Signing on the air as the original WBBB-FM in December of 1946. They would undergo 5 call sign changes with 5 sets of call letters and became WYMY in 2013. The station officially signed on in 1946 at 101.3, but then later moved to 101.1 in 1947. Oh, thanks there, Iconic. It takes a lot to get these rundowns done. A lot of info, a lot of digging. Alright, WYMY has a Class C0 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Studios are at 3012 Highwoods Boulevard, Unit 201 in Raleigh. The transmitter is in Rock Creek, located off of Mount Hermon Rock Creek Road. WYMY is locally owned by Raleigh-based Curtis Media Group and licensed by Carolina Radio Group Incorporated. Their website is raleighnc.com. Alright, WYMY not only serves the Raleigh-Durham area, but as well as the Piedmont Triad, which includes Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point. Now, Burlington is located north of Greensboro, so it's technically a part of that market, but this is probably the only station that serves both. Next up is 101.5 Channel 268, one of the Triangle's highest rated stations, and that's WRAL-FM Raleigh. Only according to Wikipedia, they removed the FM suffix. This station is known as Mix 101.5. On 101.5 FM Analog and 101.5 HD1 is adult contemporary with Christmas music during the holidays. On 101.5 HD2 is an adult album alternative station known as That Station. Yes, they actually called it That Station. And on 101.5 HD3 is all news, known as WRAL News Plus, which features newscasts from its co-owned television station, WRAL TV Channel 5. They are affiliated with WRAL TV Channel 5, which is the Raleigh-Durham NBC station. They are also the second of 2 Raleigh-Durham area affiliates of the Carolina Panthers. 620 is the other one. They are also the flagship station for North Carolina State Wolfpack football and men's basketball. WRAL, this is the radio station, signed on September 6, 1946 as WRAL-FM on 95.3. Shortly thereafter, in 1947, the station would move to 101.5, and they would drop the FM suffix from the station's call sign in 1974. They have a Class C license with the FCC, broadcasting at 98,000 watts analog and 4,000 watts digital. Studios are located at 2619 Western Boulevard in Raleigh. The transmitter is on TV Tower Road in Garner, next to the Channel 5 transmitter. WRAL is owned by locally based Capital Broadcasting Company. License is held by WRAL FM Incorporated. Translator station W239CK 95.7 FM Raleigh relays that station on WRAL HD2. Meanwhile, translator stations W243DK 96.5 FM Durham and W257CS 99.3 FM Morrisville relays the all-news format of WRAL News Plus on WRAL HD3. Oh yeah, there's a lot that goes into these rundowns. I gotta make like a station list off of Wikipedia, then I go on to Google Maps and try to locate where all the stations are located and all that. Then I write down all the information off of Wikipedia. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Definitely a lot of work. Oh, I forgot to put... Oh, yeah, I did put in their websites. The main website is WRALFM.com. The HD2's website is thatstation.net. There we go. Alright, now 102.3 channel 272 does have two stations. We're going to start with the standalone station first, and that is WFVL, Lumberton, North Carolina, which is part of K-Love, featuring contemporary Christian music. Signing on the air as WAGR-FM in 1964. They would become WJSK in 1972, WFNC-FM in 1998, and later WFVL in 2009. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 6,000 watts. Studios are at the K-Love headquarters at 2000 Reams Fleming Boulevard in Franklin, Tennessee. Their transmitter is off of Allamac Road in Lumberton. WFVL is owned by the Educational Media Foundation, or EMF, and their website is klove.com. Now, the other station that's on 102.3 is one of three stations we're about to talk about next. Alright, the main station is WKIX-FM Raleigh on 102.9 channel 275. Then you have WKJO Smithfield on 102.3 channel 272. And WKXU Hillsborough on 102.5 channel 273. All three stations are branded as Kicks 102, featuring a classic hits format. Alright, WKIX-FM Raleigh signed on the air on July 1st, 1988 as WWND. They would become WWMY in 2001 and WKIX-FM in 2010. WKJO Smithfield signed on the air in 1972 as WOKN-FM. They would undergo 8 call sign changes with 6 sets of call letters. The station did identify as WKIX-FM and WKIX from 2001 to 2006 and 2008 to 2010. Meanwhile, WKXU in Hillsborough signed on the air in 1989 as WHLQ. They would become WKXU the first time in 2004. And then they became WPLW in 2010, WPLW-FM in 2019, before returning to WKXU in 2023. All three stations have Class A licenses with the Federal Communications Commission. WKIX Raleigh on 102.9 channel 275 operates at 1700 watts. WKJO Smithfield on 102.3 channel 272 broadcasts at 2600 watts. And WKXU Hillsborough on 102.5 broadcasts at 1500 watts. Studios for all three stations are located at 3012 Highwoods Boulevard, Unit 201 in Raleigh. The WKIX transmitter is near Chapel Hill Road and Northeast Maynard Road in Cary. The WKJO transmitter is off of Little Creek Church Road in Wilson's Mills, while the WKXU transmitter is located off of Bivens Road in Durham. All three stations are locally owned by Curtis Media Group. WKIX FM is licensed by FM 102.9 LLC. WKJO is licensed by FM 102.3 LLC. And WKXU, their license is held by New Century Media Group LLC. The website for all three stations is www.kix102fm.com. Okay, 103.1 channel 276 have two stations that simulcast the same programming. You have WLHC Robbins, North Carolina, and WLQC Sharpsburg, North Carolina, both branded as Life 103.1. Featuring adult standards and middle-of-the-road music. WLHC signed on in 2003 and 10. Both stations have Class A licenses with the Federal Communications Commission. WLHC broadcasts at 6,000 watts, while WLQC broadcasts at 4,400 watts. 85 Hinton Road in Carthage, North Carolina. The WLHC transmitter is off of Hinton Road in Glendon, North Carolina, while the WLQC transmitter is located off of US 64 in Nashville, North Carolina. Both stations are owned by Woolstone Corporation. The website is live1031.com. Next up is 103.5 channel 278 broadcasting in high definition, which is WRCQ, Dunn, North Carolina, Rock 103. On 103.5 FM analog and 103.5 HD1 is mainstream rock. On 103.5 HD2 is the News Talk simulcast of WFNC 640 AM. WRCQ has affiliations with Premier Networks and Westwood One, and this is the official station of the Carolina Panthers for the Fayetteville area. WRCQ signed on the air on May 17, 1971 as WQTI. They would become WIDO in 1982, WDKS in 1985, and the current WRCQ in 1989. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 48,000 watts. Studios are located at 1009 off of Faircloth Bridge Road in Wade, North Carolina. By Cumulus Licensing Rocks.com. Okay, we have made it to the second to final page. So we're going to continue on with 103.9 channel 280, broadcasting in high definition. That is WNNL, Fuquay Arena, The Light 103.9. On 103.9 FM analog and 103.9 HD1 is Urban Gospel. And on 103.9 HD2 is the simulcast of WDRU 1030 with a Christian format. WNNL signed on the air as WAKS-FM in 1981. The station would undergo 4 call sign changes with 4 sets of call letters until becoming WNNL in 1998. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 7,900 watts. Studios are located at 8001 Creedmoor Road in Raleigh. The transmitter is located off of North Main Street or US 401 near NC 55 and NC 42 in Fuquay Arena. WNNL, which is the Light 1039, is owned by Urban One and licensed by Urban One Licenses LLC. Their website is thelightnc.com. Alright, 104.3 channel 282, which broadcasts in high definition, is WFXK, Bunn, North Carolina. But they simulcast programming heard on WFXC 107.1, so we will save that station till the end. So for now, let's move on to 104.5 channel 283, which is WCCG Hope Mills. WCCG 104.5, the hip-hop station. This is a mainstream urban format, signing on the air on April 16, 1997. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 6,000 watts. Studios are located at 115 Gillespie Street in Fayetteville. Oh yeah, we're almost done though. The transmitter is located off of Tom Starling Road in Hope Mills. WCCG is owned by Dr. James E. Carson. Their website is wccg1045fm.com. Next up is 105.1 channel 286, also broadcasting in high definition. That's WDCG Durham. G105, Raleigh-Durham's #1 hit music station. On 105.1 FM analog and 105.1 HD1 is Top 40 CHR. And on 105.1 HD2 is classic hip hop, known as 95.3 The Beat. WDCG is affiliated with Premier Networks. This station signed on the air on February 29, 1948 as WDNC-FM and became WDCG in 1974. They have a Class C1 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 73,000 watts. Studios are located at 3100 Smoke Tree Court in Raleigh. Their transmitter is located off of Production Drive in Apex. IHM Licenses LLC. Meanwhile, translator stations W236CA 95.1 FM Raleigh and W237BZ 95.3 FM Clayton relays the classic hip-hop format on WDCG HD2. Their website is g105.iheart.com. Next up is 105.7 channel 289, which is WCLN FM Renner, North Carolina. Christian 105.7. This station plays contemporary Christian music. Signing on the air in 1990 as WGQR. They would become WCLN FM officially in 2017. This station was originally assigned WSAD, but it was never used on the air. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 25,000 watts. Studios are located at 9925 Fayetteville Road in Rayford, North Carolina, while the transmitter is at 98 Holly Street in Tar Heel, North Carolina. WCLN-FM is owned by Grender Vision Media LLC, and their website is christian1057.com. Okay, we have 7 more stations left, and then we'll be Done. Alright, next up is 106.1 Channel 291, broadcasting in high definition, and that is WTKK Nightdale. 106.1 FM Talk. Real news, real talk. On 106.1 FM Analog and 106.1 HD1 is News Talk. And on 106.1 HD2 is Sports, dubbed as Fox Sports Radio Raleigh. WTKK has affiliations with Fox News Radio, Compass Media Networks, and Premier Networks, as well as local news and weather from Raleigh-Durham's CBS station, WNCN Channel 17. WTKK signed on the air on March 1st, 1961, in Wilson, North Carolina as WVOT-FM. They would become WXYY in 1976. This, of course, would be the original home of WRDU. They would change to that call sign in 1984 and became WTKK with its current talk format in 2013. The station moved into the Raleigh-Durham area in August of 1984, and what I didn't write down is that 106.1 and 100.7 did swap call letters. WTKK was originally at 100.7, while WRDU was at 106.1. Now WRDU is at 100.7, while WTKK is at 106.1. WTKK has a Class C1 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 27,500 watts. Studios are located at 3100 Smoke Tree Court in Raleigh, while the transmitter is at 3201 Transmitter Road in Garner. This is near the tower of WNCN Channel 17. WTKK is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed by IHM Licenses LLC. The main website is 1061fmtalk.iheart.com. The HD2 is foxsportsraleigh.iheart.com. Okay, next up is 106.9 Channel 295, which is WMGU Southern Pines. Magic 106.9, featuring an urban adult contemporary format affiliated with Premier Networks. Alright, this station signed on the air as WIOZ in 1992. They would become WKQB in 1995, WFVL in 2005, and the present WMGU in 2009. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 50,000 watts. Studios are located at 1009 Drayton Road in Fayetteville, with the transmitter located off of Ranch Road in Rayford. WMGU is owned by Cumulus Media and licensed by Cumulus Licensing LLC. Their website is magic1069.com. Alright, now we've made it to the simulcast heard on 107.1 Channel 296 and 104.3 Channel 282. Alright, WFXC Durham is on 107.1 Channel 296, while WFXK Bunn, North Carolina is on 104.3 Channel 282. Both stations broadcast in high definition, and both are branded as Foxy 107 and 104. Mel's in the house. What's up? Alright. On the FM analog signals and on HD1 on both stations is Urban Adult Contemporary. And on the HD2 on both stations is the simulcast of the Light 103.9, which is Urban Gospel. And this is the Raleigh-Durham affiliate of the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. WFXC Durham signed on the air as WSRC-FM in 1965 They would become WDBS in 1971 and WFXC in 1984. WFXK is the older of the two stations, signing on in 1952 as WCPS-FM in Tarboro. They would become WKTC in 1976, WAZO in 1989. Shortly thereafter, they would become WCAS, that was in 1990, and the present WFXK in 1992. The station's city of license would change from Tarboro to Bunn, North Carolina in 2012. WFXC has a Class C3 license broadcasting at 13,000 watts. Meanwhile, WFXK has a Class C1 license broadcasting at 100,000 watts. Studios for both stations are in Raleigh. The WFXC transmitter is located off of North Lake Drive in Durham, while the WFXK transmitter is at 9315 Edwards Road in Castelia, North Carolina. Both stations are owned by Urban One, and both are licensed by Radio One Licenses, LLC, and their website is foxync.com. Alright, final page, final three stations. Oh yeah, I'm definitely staying cool. I haven't been outside all day today, which is always a plus. Alright, 107.3 channel 297 has two stations. The first is WKFV Clinton, broadcasting in high definition. This would be the Fayetteville affiliate of the K-Love radio network. On 107.3 FM analog and 107.3 HD1 is contemporary Christian music. On 107.3 HD2 is Christian worship music, otherwise known as their sister network Air 1. 107.3 HD3 is K-Love Eras, which is classic contemporary Christian music. And on 107.3 HD4 is Boost Radio, which plays classic hip-hop. WKFV signed on the air as WCLN-FM in 1984. They would become WMXS in 1991. Then they would return to WCLN-FM in 1994 before becoming WKFV in 2017. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 9,200 watts. Programming originates from the K-Love headquarters at 2000 Reams Fleming Boulevard in Franklin, Tennessee. Their transmitter is located off of Tom Autry Lane in Clement, North Carolina. WKFV is owned by the Educational Media Foundation, or EMF. Translator station W271DR, 102.1 FM Fayetteville, relays K-Love on WKFV HD1. Translator station W275BW, 102.9 FM Fayetteville, relays Air 1 on WKFV HD2. And translator station W247BS, 97.3 FM Hope Mills, relays Boost Radio on WKFV HD4. Alright, the main website is klove.com. The HD2 is air1.com. The other station on 107.3 is WVRA Enfield, North Carolina, known as The Journey, also featuring contemporary Christian music. First sign-on is February 14th, 2006 as WBOB-FM, and that was from Radio Locator. They would become WVRA in 2012. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting at 4,100 watts. Studios are located at 3700 Candlers Mountain Road on the campus of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. Their transmitter is located in Glenview, North Carolina, right off I-95. WVRA is owned by Liberty University Incorporated. Their website is myjourneyfm.com. Our final station is 107.7 channel 299, which is WUKS St. Paul's, North Carolina. 107.7 The Bounce, featuring a classic hip-hop format. Signing on the air in 1994 as WLRD before becoming WUKS in 1997. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 5,200 watts. Studios are located at 1876 Bureau Drive in Fayetteville. The transmitter is at 5630 North Shannon Road in Shannon, North Carolina. WUKS is owned by Beasley Broadcast Group and licensed by Beasley Media Group Licenses, LLC, and their website is 1077thebounce.com. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The Raleigh-Durham-Fayetteville radio market, also stations from Rocky Mount, were included as well. I think I'm going to get a couple of my reissues out in the next two installments. I want to get those out before football season starts here in the next few weeks. So I think next time we'll be reissuing the St. Louis radio market. This was one of the earlier videos I've done in the series. When I give that market a fresh rundown. Plus, one major radio broadcaster is leaving the market real soon. I'll tell you all about that when we look at the St. Louis reissue. And to stay in Missouri, we'll also reissue the AM and FM stations in Kansas City. So I think those will be the next two episodes in the series. So make sure you join me for those in the coming weeks. For now, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big shout out to Jixer848, Nikki B3489 who just jumped in. Hello. Iconic for Life, shout out to you. Mel B619 Bowls. She has some really good content. Make sure y'all check her out too. Mel B619 Bowls on YouTube. And of course, another one of my bowling friends out in San Diego, CJ from Sour Apple Bowling. Shout out to you. Crazy Cajun J down in Louisiana. Vaughn257. Quest Jax, what's up? Blue Jay 1983, Stardust Dreamer. Yeah, she was in my comments before I even went live. But it's a good thing we did it today, so. Oh yeah, my boy Bryce Garvey, my football partner in crime. Can't wait for football season, my dude. And Nani Girl 13. Big shout out to all of y'all that showed up today. I appreciate you. So once again, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and happy listening. Peace out.